Hello everyone, Jacob Crypto here. I did so well and then I had to kill the recording, so I'll do it all over again and see if we can do the right way. Yeah, today, look, I'm going to focus on my usual two favourites. Look, we're going to have to compare everything to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still struggling to get over 8,000. It did have an impulse and then come back down to earth. I'm still predicting, and this is not financial advice, do your own research, we all know the drill, people. I'm still predicting it to come 7.5 because it's a nice 7 psychological levels here. So what have we got up here? Yeah, 7.5 seems to be a nice psychological level from previous history. And that's what I've seemed to be noticing at the moment is whilst it's touching off my fib levels, there seems to be some psychological levels being touched off as well, and I'll show you that on Litecoin in a minute. So you can see where it's travelling. It's on par with almost before where I think the impulse started, the hype started to go before in so I guess it looks like about mid-November. It seems to be all positive territory. The bulls seem to go for a massive run. So look, that's where I've done my impulse, and everything seems to tee off around that. Just you can see some struggle around here. Again, there's a bit of action here. Obviously, where the top is, it's always going to be there. But this is where it starts to get interesting, and it just touches off in these levels, up and down here. So yeah, it looks like it just fits right. And then when you start to zoom in here, it's broken through basically the last level of support before it goes back to 1999 prices, people. No, yeah, it definitely comes back to 5.5 or around that mark. So look, people give me shit, say, oh, you spread FUD. I'm not spreading FUD. I'm just saying this is my interpretation. So by all means, do your own shit. But again, also just take the time and have a look at other people's pictures too, because sometimes you might go, wait up, I'm missing that, and I'm happy to be corrected at any time. I'm not really a massive finance person. I just like a few things about it. And I guess like us all, we're all trying to make sense of it and trying to connect the dots. So maybe one of us joins the dots and another person makes $1. Great, I'm all happy for it. But this is how my strategy's been. When it touched on 130, I think a day or so ago, I bought a little position. I sold that off at 160 because I thought, well, yeah, I'm not going to push it too hard. And then it went up to 170, and I still thought at that point it wasn't too healthy at 170, so I opened a short, and we've been riding that back down ever since. So a bit of luck, that might touch off. I'll be happy to see that go sub 130. Let's have a look at the price. What do we look at BTC? So 142. And an interesting thing with Litecoin, and sorry if I didn't mention it beforehand, I was referencing Litecoin. It just, see how it just touches off that and breaks down. So, and I was going to say, a lot of people, depending on the chart they're using, the time frame, could give them a false impression of what might be happening. So, if you look here, yeah, we all see the impulse on 12-hour charts and 4-hour charts, but once you go on a 4-hour chart, you see this and you think, oh, maybe there's a little bit of hope for it. Yeah, you know, that psychological BS kicks in, and you go, okay. And if you're to make a move on that alone, yeah, it's 50-50. Now, if you went back in time, let's go, we want to do a 12-hour chart, and this is what I do. Again, not financial advice, but you look at the 12-hour chart, and yes, you still see that massive rise, but now you're starting to see, well, I'm not really seeing any reason for it to correct. Yes, there's some people that might say that's a lone soldier and twin sister or whatever, but look, I look at the small picture in context to the big picture. Especially a lot of people say, oh, but you should be in it for the long haul. Well, this is pretty long vision stuff. So if you see it going down like that, you're going, well, okay, when it does turn, hopefully we've got plenty of time for it to go up and we can get in. And but even if you look at the orders at the moment, this is very thin. So I can see that collapsing. What's it at 142? I can see this almost breaking down to maybe yeah. So there's a couple of new orders coming in. No, I wouldn't say it could break down to 140, but let's see. 24.59. There's a solid little wall there. That's not much. So look, it might break 140 by the time we finish having this conversation. But again, I'm looking for 135, and then I'll keep looking at the big picture. And because it's a nice short for come down 170, 135, I'm going to let that play out a little longer. Because if that goes down to 90, woohoo! Unfortunately, with the platform I use, I can't scale out my short. It's either you're in or you're out. So unfortunately, I would like to probably scale a little bit out, but nah, we'll see what happens. It wasn't that much. This is, as I said, this is almost pokey money. Not that much to worry about. In fact, I've been trying to run it out of eToro because their fees are through the roof, and I just can't seem to lose it just yet. Maybe I'll go on Forex. That's a quick way of killing it. Alright, so okay, back to our friend Bitcoin. Again, that's touching this. If I'm drawing my fibs right, it's still having the same issue trying to crack and hold these areas. Now, the way I did it is, way back down here. Here we go. Oh, so that would suggest that's on that level. Just bear with me for a second. I just hate the way they put these. No. So yeah, I reckon that's through its last level of support. And if that closes in there a few more times, it's gone. I think the volume, as you can see, is it's a little bit better. But in context to some of the big movements through here, it's just still small little. This is like Adelaide City. This is almost like LA. Yeah. And that's the thing I've always been saying. It's volume for me. I'm not too fussed about averages at the moment because I think the averages are all being screwed over, in my opinion, just because of the way the market's been artificially killed and dissected by FUD, and then we're reacting accordingly. That's the thing. This is no longer a controlled investor domain. This is not stock market. The stock market would predominantly be big players, and you go through them, whereas this is individuals playing, and hopefully they're starting to wisen up and go, well, okay, I'm happy to sit back and wait for a better time. Don't go overcommit at the moment, because these little impulses, there could be little traps, and you can go in there thinking, it's on its way. Especially this area where it's a chart 12 hours, so you think after 36 hours of half green, it might have, the madness. And this is the problem with a lot of people, is it takes only a small few hours for people to go, the storm's over, and maybe the storm is still happening. That's the problem. If you look at that in the context of the whole pattern, for the last month and a half we've been absolutely trashed, but then 36 hours of green, and all of a sudden we're willing to stick our heads out and go, oh, it's a good time to invest again. I'd be waiting for a longer time frame than that for a confirmation. So I'm happy to wait. I still think mid-February, Lunar New Year's kicking in, if I haven't mentioned it already. And shout out to my mate Clint. We have many drinks and we solve the world's problems. But he suggests it's a big thing over there, because I've always gone, But he goes, it's money-wise, it's also a big thing, biggest movement around the planet, la 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 la. So that could have significant play out if people, especially if the Asians want to cash out. And apparently my mate was saying, correct me if I'm wrong, giving money to whatever it is a good luck thing. So who knows? Look, we might still see some more selling yet as people try to, and especially it'll be some people holding hard up here all the way down. But there's going to be a breaking point for some of these people, so I'm hoping that look, for me, and I'm sorry, I'm greedy. I'm hoping it comes down to 5.5. For those that bought, just hold and wait. Hopefully, it's not. Bears and bulls run at different times, so you can see, and this is the one time it probably breaks that rule, especially because of the media influence. Look at our bull; he's storming. Now that usually is the opposite way around, but our bear is going to cause some carnage, and I think it's going to put the next bull run under some control. I've been saying in my tinfoil hat that what it feels like is the credibility of Bitcoin's been smashed, because it's all been associated with all the FUD. You look at Ripple and all the other coins, you don't really hear, Ripple users are losing squillions. It's all about Bitcoin and the ups and lows. So Bitcoin's got a tug on it about, and it's basically, my argument is a rising tide brings up all ships, and a sinking one's got to do the reverse, and that's what Bitcoin is doing. So at the moment, you look around the markets, ICOs and stuff might be good bargains. So ICOs that have just finished with the hard cap that have been supposedly met under conditions of 1100 ETH, wait for that to come back to the market, to the exchange, because in theory, correct me if I'm wrong, but if it comes down to 650 Ethereum, does that mean that the market cap that it launches out with is less, and that makes the tokens less? It'd be interesting to see how this all plays out. So I've still got my eyes open on them, even at the ones that have just been launched that I missed out on ICO but got pumped. Icon and a few others I'll keep an eye on. So look, there's a very concerted effort at the moment. Kill the reputation, kill the infrastructure. So I'm fearful of what happens when mining becomes very the ROI doesn't come in. And yes, people are talking about all the new enhancements that will come in, but there's going to be a race between those enhancements coming in and it tanking out, and maybe bigger forces might be mindful of that. And then you kill the inbound supply of fiat, and it sounds like all the banks now maybe just FUD, and I'm happy to always say always FUD, always fire yeah. But the rumours are that the banks want to cut access to cryptocurrencies through credit cards all throughout America. And remember, a lot of these banks have subsidiaries overseas, so the influence might be exerted over in different areas. So I'm still watching this space. I still think there can be much more room for mayhem. And even with the Litecoin, Litepay news, which might have given Litecoin maybe another 10-15% rise above the other coins, it's still not good enough. And what kind of news is going to bring this back? That's going to be the interesting stuff. So while we're in a big bit downward trend and a spiraling, something positive has to happen before confidence is going to happen. Either that or prices are going to hit such a point where people just can't refuse. But even depending on how those prices are met, if those prices are met in a hurry, I'm sure, as it was me, be sitting back waiting for lower prices. Some people were saying, what happens if it hits zero? It will never hit zero, people. Why? Because the way the system was set up was so it could never, if it got pushed to that point, it'd go underground and still continue. It can't be taken down. So I think that's the key thing in amongst all this, is blockchain is here to stay. The price might come down, and no, it will never come to zero, because once it gets pushed to that point, I think it'll be bleeding obvious that the reason why Bitcoin was developed has become valid. Okay, so that's just my rant, but I think that sums it up really nicely. If I didn't mention, ArcBlock has got this Tokyo subway map on how we're going to get our tokens. For those, well, either tokens or refunds for those who follow the rules, or a bit of a arse reaming for those who didn't follow the rules. So if we look at it, follow the train, yes, did we do the, where most people did all the right things, up to the point, did we use the right gas limit? If you didn't, you're going to get reamed 20%, and you're going to wait up to 9 weeks. If you did, let's move on, you're on to the next station. Woohoo! And then, did you do the right ETH limit, or CMT, depending on what you use? If no, pucker up, VY Vaseline, 5 weeks, 20%, so 9 weeks in total, and we'll see. But what I did notice is they've changed the language. They said return within 5 weeks, not return starting in 5 weeks. So that's a positive, but still not much to take home if you didn't do the right things. What I would like to see, and we'll continue this first, has the hard cap been reached? Yes. Tough luck, you get or you either got in or you get a refund. What I would like to see is an audit, so anyone that didn't pass, and I'm just reading between the lines, if you got your money into your ArcBlock personal address and it's sitting on their domain, I'd be interested to see what happens if they do a proper audit, and I hope they do, because that would really make people who did the right thing feel a bit better about missing out. But if they find out there were some cheats and people didn't play by the rules and they got excluded, it'll be good to see them offer those tokens to us and not assume that we'd want to buy them. Again, that's what I think that might still happen. just because of the way it's all sitting. If they find out there's some big players who've killed the market cap, the hard cap of their sale, and then there's a nice substantial ding in there what they were trying to raise, of course they're going to try and use people that already got funds and ready to commit and done KYC. So yeah, hold tight, let's see what happens. Tinfoil, not financial advice, but you never know, stranger things happen in the space. They could be watching. Where's that tinfoil? Apart from that, look, I'm going to go watch a show. There's a bloody good show that I want to go watch. It's called Four Corners, and they're talking about this unlucky bastard that got caught laundering $16 billion. But what I found funny was in the context of what it was about. The Aussie government, because I'm Australian, if you haven't worked out, gave out $1 million to the American feds to help be laundered. And when they got the money back, they had an interesting dilemma about what to do with it, because the forex rates, the transaction rates had changed, and they actually had more money than they were giving back more money than they actually started with. So I'd like to see how they got up to it and see if I can use that in my crypto tax this year, but I don't think so. Look, apart from that, I don't think there's much else I want to touch on. I'm going to start getting into some ICOs the next couple of days. It's going to be hot, above 45 or above 40s here. So in American terms, that's freaking hot. Kiwi terms, that's bloody hell on earth. But yeah, I'll get some ICOs up and done, and we'll keep an eye on the ArcBlock just in case something unique comes out. Watch out for Bitcoin 7555. Look, I've got no confidence in it at the moment, and happy to be wrong, and that's what we're doing. I'm putting my name out there. I'm going to call the chart before it happens and see what happens, and if I'm wrong, I'll learn from it. Alright, hooroo from Oz. Take it easy.